Hey, everybody. On this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, retired teachers are wanting to come back into the classroom, and the school districts are saying no. There's also a PE teacher that let a hockey game with pool noodles get a little out of hand. And lastly, seeing your teacher out in public. How weird can it get? Stay tuned. Crying in My Car starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Siebold, and I have James Yan in the house. We're your resident comedians, hopefully bringing a little bit of laughs to you. Teachers are stressed. We're here to end that stress. Be sure to rate us 5-star, share, thumbs up, whatever you're doing. Be sure to check us out on the pods. If you watch on YouTube, occasionally pull up a little Spotify, give us some DLs, some downloads, set it to automatic even, and then it's already there for you every time a new episode comes out. Rate it over there as well. Also, don't forget to check me out on tour with the not Crying in My Car, with the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. Maybe one day, Crying in My Car.
One day.
Yeah. San Diego, May 16th. Los Angeles, May 17th. San Jose, May 19th. Santa Rosa, May 19th. Sorry, 18th and 19th. Billings, Montana. That's going to be beautiful. I love Billings.
Oh, nice.
July 25th. And Bozeman, Montana, on the 26th, and Missoula, Montana on the 27th as well. So
there you go.
Montana, coming over there. I love that area, and it'll be interesting to see it in the summer.
Gotcha.
I've only been when it's like frigidly cold over there, so I'm sure it's beautiful.
Gotcha. What do you do when you go to Montana, like after the shows and whatnot, in between?
There's some cool places to hike and stuff over there. They got some really just beautiful scenery and a nice downtown. Missoula, Montana, I went to.
Yeah.
Their downtown was amazing, and it had one place that I ate at that I cannot wait to go back. There was like a Japanese place that was...
That is so funny to say that. Like, there's a great Japanese restaurant. Where? Montana.
Well, what's funny is when I went to Canada, I was looking at Canada on the thing. I go, I can't wait to try some good Canadian food. And I was like, top-rated place in Canada, near my hotel.
Yeah.
And it was Nashville fried chicken. And I was
Nashville.
like,
okay, all right.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah. I want to bring this question to the teachers. Start off with what would you do?
Okay.
Again, we were just in Canada, and I wanted to bring up a story that I saw there, and not necessarily just this story, but in general. I'm seeing this happen a lot.
Okay.
And I want to know teachers' opinions. The story is, in Ontario, there was a high school teacher that took his fight all the way to the top courts and lost. What he said was that he was apparently arguing with a student over a bicycle. They couldn't bring the bicycle into this particular area, and he said, don't do that, and apparently there was some disagreements, some back and forths.
Okay.
Apparently this student was throwing this bike, and he tried to get the bike from him, and long story short, they argued, they wrestled, nobody was hit. Apparently there was some damage, he said, to his wrist from trying to hold the bike, and the student became abusive, was swearing at the teacher, demanding that they release the bike, and the student warned him. He apparently said, you need to not get mad at me or it won't turn out well for you. And there was a threat from the student to the teacher.
Yes.
It won't turn out well
for you.
So the teacher then said, I'm not going back to school, and expected the labor board to side with him. There is a threat. The student has warned me and said, I'm not safe if I'm near you.
Yes.
The student was only given a few days suspension. And the school ended up siding with the student, said that the teacher was overly aggressive and was instigating it, but should have just let it go. Should have just let the bike go and just said, I'll write up a referral later. They were kind of in the middle of something that maybe they should have just said, you know what, I'm going to hands off this. My question to the teachers is, I've seen this happen with a lot of threats. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of messages from teachers that go, I was threatened. A student said this about me. a student, and then they're expected to keep coming back to work. How, I don't know, as a society, is it okay to expect somebody who feels physically threatened to come back to work?
Let me answer this right for you. No, I came from the corporate world. You know that. In the corporate world, if you threaten anyone, HR is going to come immediately and remove you from that situation. There's going to be an investigation. We talked a little bit about this on our last episode, that when things happen in a school, it falls under a different umbrella than the normal law.
Right.
There's no other job where you can be threatened and no one takes that seriously.
Right.
So I don't know why it's allowed that teachers nowadays, so much more than ever, are being able to be threatened by students, and the students allowed to go back to the classroom.
Yeah, especially back to their classroom, because it's not even like it's a job where there's 40 people in an office and they're in a cubicle over there and we can move their cubicle away from you. They are in front of you.
Yes.
Not only are they in front of you, you are expected to interact with them on a daily basis. You are expected to grade them fairly. You are expected to treat them fairly.
Yes.
They're expected to, there's got to be some tension there, some animosity. I mean, I got to know.
Not even that, man. You got to think there has to be some fear. There has to be some real concern for your own personal welfare when you see so many teachers get attacked.
Absolutely.
And this person just threatened me, and you're going to get to come back to my classroom where you can do it whenever you feel like it?
Yeah.
I would be afraid, man. I really would.
Yeah. Well, the labor board apparently in Canada said, no,
Wow.
You should go back. And you're supposed to be in the same classroom with this kid.
That has to weigh on your mental health, too, honestly.
And it also has to then create a big imbalance.
Yes.
Can you imagine that first day back when the kid knows that they
he got
ruled
you.
against you?
Yeah.
They ruled against you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I wouldn't even, as a parent, I wouldn't want my kid in the classroom. I'd say, look, there was an altercation. My kid said some stuff they were not supposed to say. We need to remove them from there or the school. The school, they're not going to be, they're not going to be treated fairly. Even if I think it was unjust, I would say they're not going to be treated fairly anymore.
No.
And they've apologized.
If they had a run-in, I just would do it as a parent because I don't want them to escalate to anything else.
Yeah.
Either way, you know what I mean? So just, please, let's move my child somewhere else. Let's just.
I would think, you know. But I've received so many messages from teachers that say threatened, bitten, hit, and they just got tired of the abuse and they left. And I'm like, why are you having to leave?
Because no one was there to have their back.
Yeah.
That's why. Unfortunately,
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because think about it. You're at jeopardy of losing your job anyway, so I might as well go somewhere else because if something happens, then it stays with me. Stays on my record as a teacher, so I've got to protect my livelihood and do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that we take threats, like you said, outside of the umbrella. We take threats very seriously.
Yes, we do.
If I emailed you and made a credible threat towards you, then it would get investigated. I could potentially go to jail. There's restraining orders that
Yes.
could be taken out.
Yes.
I wonder if the teacher could get a restraining order. I wonder if a teacher's ever gotten a restraining order on a student.
I've never heard that, but let's also flip that situation. Let's say a teacher threatened a student. Mm-hmm. Immediately, everyone be up in arms.
Oh, yeah.
It would be dealt with right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
and
teacher.
Do you think they would let him back in the
Nope.
classroom?
Nope, not at all. Nope.
No.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You have to think about the reverse. Yeah, you don't really think about that. But also the restraining order, too. I wonder if that's a possible way that this teacher or the teachers that message me could go about it. Take it to the legal. If your principal's not listening to you, maybe the courts will. And go, look, here's what they said.
I would love to know if we have anybody out there who has any experience in the legal matters of teaching. If you guys ever experienced something like that, can a teacher actually get a restraining order? And have you guys ever heard of a teacher doing that? That'd be interesting to hear.
Yeah. If you had a restraining order in school, man, that's got to be so different because not only can they not be in your class, but even if their class is like next to you,
They can't even do that.
They'd have to move them to a different room.
Yes.
I don't know. I honestly, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I could have
How would that work?
filed a few.
Yeah, unfortunately,
there's,
man.
There's some kids I don't want within 50 feet of my room.
Well, what did they do to threaten you?
I don't know.
Have you seen his answers?
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe. He's asked me to repeat myself 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
I mean, I don't see anything more violating than that, to be honest with you.
I feel threatened. There you go.
All right, let's go into the teachers in the news. There's a teacher that is suspended for 3 days over an aggressive pool noodle hockey game. Yeah.
A pool noodle.
Pool noodle hockey game.
All right.
Try saying that.
I heard that right. I just want to make sure.
It's a Vancouver Island phys ed teacher apparently had his certification suspended for 3 days after allowing the students to slap each other with pool noodles while playing hockey, causing one of them to have it was hit in the face and the glasses fell off his face and broke. And apparently 3 days suspension, that's what they went ahead and gave him. But it was a grade 9 physical PE class, grade 9 PE class. And apparently there was a hockey game. And he said, look, here's the hockey game. But to add some fun to it, you don't just get the sticks for the hockey. You also get a pool noodle in this hand.
Yeah.
And you can hit people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got kids. I've got a pool.
Yeah.
And you hit people with a pool noodle,
every time.
it doesn't hurt, But if you hit somebody in the face with, some good whipping force, sure. Now, here's the thing is apparently, he'd done this game before and he warned him. He said, do not hit too hard. Do not hit above the neck.
Yeah.
But then encouraged them. Apparently, he was told, apparently the student said that he was on the side going, beat him, get him, hit him, fight back. And maybe that's not the way to go about it, But the main problem apparently came when, honestly, they're not really complaining about the pool noodle game.
No.
It's the one student that had his glasses knocked off. They didn't report it. And the parents, obviously, when the kid got home, were like, what happened to your glasses? Oh, some kid hit me in the face with a pool noodle. And then nothing was ever apparently reported. And they said, because the incident wasn't reported to school administration and the parents weren't notified, he has been suspended for 5 days without pay, and his license has been revoked for 3 days, which is weird. Isn't that a weird thing?
Only 3?
To revoke your license for 3 days.
But I'm out for 5.
It's like, well, during those 5 days off, I wasn't going to go teach elsewhere. I'm not applying for other jobs in those. I just think that's a weird thing. But
that is
maybe I don't
weird.
know,
Yeah.
Canada. I don't know what they.
But you know why I feel bad for the teacher? He had good intentions. He was just trying to do something fun with the kids.
So
I get it though. I totally understand why he gets suspended. But man, I know he's sitting there like, I was just trying to have fun. Yeah.
Yep. But so I honestly was reading about him, and it says, I think in my head, I'm like, man, this guy's just trying to have fun, because it says that he had been suspended in the past for encouraging his grade 8 PE class to twerk as part of physical activity.
Okay, all right. Wow. Okay.
I think it's hysterical. It's not appropriate.
Not at all.
It's like, look, if you don't want to get up and you don't want to move, do twerking. Do whatever you want to do. I think, honestly, it's just a older teacher probably trying to connect to the younger teachers.
Gotcha.
Like, hit them with the, let's twerk. I'm the fun teacher. I'm the cool teacher. And it gets out of hand.
Next, he's going to have him vaping? Like,
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? No, that's what he does while they're hitting each other. It's, just as I planned.
Okay, pool noodles one thing, but the twerking, like, I can't defend that.
I know, but
I can't defend that.
But you know that the kids probably were laughing and were like, twerk. What's the difference between that and Richard Simmons, shake your butt? Kind of.
A lot.
Oh, okay, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think it's funny, but also, watch yourself. Don't do that. You might get suspended for.
I'm just saying,
3
maybe
days.
we need to supervise that teacher when he gets back with the students.
All right, this one's interesting to me because, again, I pulled from Canadian background news, and they're complaining about school supplies being scarce because apparently the school board has a $18 million deficit, and the district school board says that, unfortunately, this year, the teachers may have to pay for their supplies.
Okay, can I answer now? I knew that was coming. Okay.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, I was going to say. I know for a fact, talking to you and being close with a lot of my kids' teachers growing up, you guys buy supplies all the time.
Yep.
Like, that's just a normal thing.
Literally, the news in Canada is, this is a quote, "It's being cut so drastically, we might have to even pay for such necessities as paper." And I'm like, I bought all of my paper for years. It's like I feel bad because obviously there's something that you're used to.
Yes.
But
it's not right.
Yeah, but it's so interesting that they're like, it's been cut so drastically that they might have to buy their pencils. And I'm like, what? What? And she says, the classroom, you're not going to believe, but the classroom budget my entire year at my school was $100 per class last year. You're not going to believe it. It's like, do you realize that we got an actual check one time from the school board and it was $180?
Yeah.
For the full year for all of our classes.
Yes.
And that
$100, you're like, woo.
Per class.
Woo, you guys can go to Target for supplies.
Yeah. Cashing out. But yeah, it says paper, pencils, other tools are being paid for out of the teachers' pockets. It's unbelievable that the reality is that we're having to, it says, sort of supports have always been scant are now under more pressure because of an overall budget problem. I find it's one of those things where you're like, welcome to the real world. You know? I mean, I honestly feel like...
we're so jaded.
I feel like the lady on Beetlejuice that with the neck and the smoking, I'm like, welcome to the underworld. Did you bring your manual? This is how it works down here.
Grab a number and sit down.
But it's so funny again because I'm in Canada and I'm looking and it's like the worst thing that could happen is the teacher now has to buy the pencils. And I'm like, come on, Canada.
No one's threatening them. They're all having a great time as teachers. Yeah, right. Man. Good for them.
Now, here's another Canadian story. I thought this one was pretty interesting. This one I don't know that I agree with. It's kind of a weird one, but apparently there was a limit placed upon teachers who have retired for coming back to teaching.
A limit?
Yeah. So let's say you retire and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You can come back in to work.
Yeah.
But originally, they actually capped it at 95 days a year, and that was just to help with the teacher shortage. Well, now they've trimmed it even back further to just 50 days a work year. And they said that apparently retired teachers before could work, but there was, it says up to 95 days before there was a pension penalty to help the schools, but now it's just 50 days. And the teachers are going, well, I wanted to work. And they're saying, no, we're not going to let you work. It's interesting, and I don't understand it. I guess it's because they're covering absences, literally covering absences, but maybe they're paid significantly more.
Because they were actual teachers.
Yeah, because they're not only actual teachers, but are retired. They're at the top level of pay.
They are.
And they're like, yeah, look, we can't keep having these all-star teachers come in for this amount of money. We can't afford it.
And they're collecting their pension as well.
Yeah, and they're collecting their pension. So it's like you can't get paid and then paid.
You're double dipping. Yeah.
So capping it at 50 days, but also there's a shortage. These are the most qualified, well-versed teachers to fill these positions.
They've done it before.
And again, we're trying to cut these budgets, but look, you're already short hundreds of teachers. You're already saving money by not hiring those hundreds of teachers. Pay the teachers that are showing up, that are the retired teachers, more.
Yes.
Give them that money and ignore the pension penalties.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they're trying to do it. It says that they're apparently canceling the classes instead of actually filling it in.
Just canceling the class.
Yeah.
You know what? You don't need math today.
Yeah.
You know what? You got a phone, right? Got a calculator? You're good.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but I just feel bad because when I was honestly in Canada, one of the things that I noticed a lot of is retired teachers coming up to me. And I go, hey, so do you teach? And they go, oh, not anymore. I was retired. And then they said this. I mean, it was 95% of the ones that said they were retired go, but I keep coming back and I keep teaching. They need me. And they've been teaching. They're still teaching. And it's not necessarily, the irony is that it's not really like a money thing.
No.
Their pension's pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay for health care. It's a passion.
There you go. They want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But we're going to be like, no. No, I don't need any of that passion and dedication.
Yeah. Passion, no.
No.
More passion, no.
I say nay.
Less passion.
Yeah, less passion. Yeah.
But yeah, so I disagree with that. I think we should let them teach. I don't know if there's any caps like that here in the United States. I'd be interested
I've never
to
heard of
know
that.
from teachers. Is there a cap in your district? Are you a retired teacher or listen to the podcast and you're like, hey, I tried to go back, but they said no?
Could you go back and, let's say if you wanted to, substitute, like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to, like,
Yep.
like
And I'm still certified, so technically I could go back into the classroom,
Gotcha.
and become a teacher anytime I want. But
Gotcha.
but yeah, I could go back and sub for sure, and get back into the retirement system and everything like that.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's I've thought about it before.
just one day, be like,
Yeah,
hey, man.
I thought about it before,
Yeah.
and then I look up teachers in the news, and I go, no.
Nope, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Maybe one day, but what surprises me is how many teachers, when I go to these comedy shows, started in 2020 and are still teaching.
It started right before the pandemic?
No,
Or-
before or during. I mean, I couldn't. I'm shocked because they're like, "Oh, I started teaching. I've been in teaching 4 years." And I'm like, "You started in 2020 and you stayed?" And I'm like, I guess if your baseline is horrible, like I guess it's all about experience. If you come into chaos and
think
then
it's
see
normal.
some organization, you're like, look at how much better this is. But people pre-pandemic, teachers pre-pandemic, we know.
Yeah, you do.
We know.
Yeah, you do.
You know, there was a difference.
As a parent who became a teacher during the pandemic,
Yeah.
no.
It's like
Don't
it's like
know.
people that go to Disney World for the first time now. They're like, "Oh wow, Disney World's fun," and I
Yeah.
go, "But fast passes used to be free."
Yes.
And
Yes.
the crowds used to be less.
Yes.
And we used to get this
Yes.
perk of the Magical Express from the airport. And we used to have this. And it's if you don't know,
You don't know.
you never miss it.
Yeah.
If you never knew
Yeah.
what it was,
Yeah.
I guess.
A few months ago, there were trams. Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't have to walk to the
And they're
parking
like,
lot.
yeah, because they're like, oh, look, it's nice and breezy out. And I'm like, but before,
Yeah.
they would drive you.
Yes. To your car.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not on board with that, the retired teacher thing. All right, this last one. I read this article, and it's interesting. It's a little bit... I don't know how to preface this.
Oh, I love these.
Because it's a sensitive
love this.
topic. Apparently, there was a child that punched their teacher in the face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The student went back to school, and the mom's solution was to pack a calming banana in the kid's backpack and said sometimes it's a long bus ride and they're hungry when they get off the bus and they can be angry. So therefore, when they enter your class, here's the banana for them to eat so they won't punch you in the face.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
1 second.
Sure.
Make sure I want to get this right. This mom is saying the reason their child punched the teacher was because they were hangry.
Yeah, it's a guy's story. It's going viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
And yeah, essentially that.
Well, I'm just going to give you some information about James. I don't know if you guys can tell by the look of me. I like food.
Mm-hmm.
But never have I assaulted anyone because I was hungry.
We don't talk about
We don't talk. Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm joking. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So this teacher went on TikTok and said, look, I got punched by a student, and the parent's solution was the next day, they apparently packed a letter and said, and this is what the letter said, he may be hungry after the bus ride and acting out because of this, hoping that the calming banana can be his special superpower to get him back on track.
May I again?
Yeah.
So the parent says, I'm going to give him a banana because he may be hungry from the time he left the house where he just had breakfast. How long was the trip to school?
Yeah.
A half a day? Like,
True.
just me hearing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the issue is not necessarily the banana.
No.
It's not necessarily the kid. It is, however, and this is what a lot of teachers brought up, the parent's response to it is not apologetic, is not, hey, you know what? Let's work together. Let's talk about this. Apparently, somebody is quoted as saying, how did we get to this point as a society where a parent thinks not, how can I make this right with the teacher, and instead says, oh, I'm so sorry, here's a banana, as a solution. And again, this is it's in parentheses in the title of the article, and it's very meaningful. It says, it's not really about the banana. It's about the act of approaching people that have been assaulted by your child and go, look, as human to human, I have to make this right. There has to be some sort of laying the groundwork of apologies, and coming up with a better plan and working together with the teacher, not here's a banana. It feels like as a society, we're just keep handing teachers a banana, to all these bigger problems.
That's right. That's great.
We just go, here's the banana.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what we need to start using is that rhetoric in school. Here's your banana.
There you go.
Here's your banana. And again, I don't know much about the student. I honestly don't know anything about their needs. They may be special needs. They may have an IEP. They may have services that are required. I don't know anything about that. We're just talking strictly about parent to teacher communication. There's got to be some sort of better bridge than a note in the backpack with a banana, And so, but it was interesting that it was brought up. There was a lot of discussion about it, who's at fault here. But generally, people were on the side of the teacher going, yeah, you deserved a little something better than just here's a banana, hope it works.
Well, the first thing you start with if you're the parent of a student who hit a teacher is you start with an apology.
Right.
I am so sorry if this happened to you, and let me assure you it will not happen again. Then maybe move on to produce. Like, that's just me. Like, that's a weird thing.
Yep.
Very weird.
Yeah. So anyways, that's online. You can check that out. And we need to definitely address it as a whole because it seems to be that there's a big divide between teachers and parents, and the students are getting caught up in the middle of it. Maybe the kid is hungry. Maybe the kid does have some things, some needs that they have to have when getting off the bus, but also the parent needs to be addressed, and talked about. All right, we are done with the teachers and the news. Now let's go into one of the last things I wanted to talk about here, and it is 30 of the funniest times students spotted their teachers out of the classroom.
Oh, okay. This hits home for you.
Yeah.
Because you have a wonderful book that you wrote, Teachers in the Wild, right?
Teacher in the Wild.
Yeah.
It's about seeing your teacher out in public. I've seen students out in public, and it gets awkward.
Yes.
I saw a student one time that I was teaching, and she was bartending. And I know she was not of bartending age.
Oh.
And so you sit down at the bar, and over comes a 17-year-old. What can I get for you? Oh, Mr. Siebold. It's like, you're not supposed to be here legally. I'm not going to order a drink from you.
No, I'm not going to be an accomplice.
I'm going to see you in class. I'm going to go somewhere else. And the interesting thing is I don't drink. I was there for a band that was playing. A guy was in a local band, and I really wanted to see him play. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He played bass, and he's like, hey, we're playing here. I said, okay, I'll go. I'll support you.
I'll check it out.
And I usually order a drink just to support the bar. That way they get good bar tabs, and then the band gets invited back. I want to see my friend work.
Yes.
So I'll get a drink, and I'll just go, and then just put it off on the side. I'm not really a drinker. So, but this one I was not ordering a drink. I was like, you know what?
Nope.
How much are the pretzels? I'll
take
buy
those.
some pretzels. I've seen other students out and about. It's weird now because they're older.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you're 30. I'm almost 40.
Yeah.
And I've got students that are in their 30s.
That's crazy, isn't it? It happens.
Bothers me. It bothers me. But yes. So now I see them out and about, and it's like, do what you do.
You're an adult now.
Yeah. So here's 30 of the funniest times that teachers students have spotted their teachers out in the wild. Okay. This one I thought was pretty funny. Saw my English teacher shoplifting underwear. Primark. At that point,
what?
I'm going to give you a hint. Students offer to buy it. Just go up and be like, can I just buy that for you? I feel really bad. Yeah, let's not commit a misdemeanor.
When it's underwear.
Maybe not when it's underwear.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
Other stuff, yeah.
Hey, can I buy something else for you?
Yes.
So that you can afford the underwear.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll buy you lunch right after this.
There you go.
So you definitely don't want to see that. This one, my guidance counselor was also our exterminator. He came by to do a 6-month spray right after my parents called him to tell him they wanted to send me to military school. You know what's funny is I don't think that it's one of those things where the parents go, we're sending our child to military school. And then you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to swing by there tomorrow. And then you just exterminating like, told you to pay attention. I told you. This is what happens. This is what happens.
This is why.
I don't know if that was a scheduled visit or a I told you so visit.
That is definitely a 2 bird, 1 stone.
Yeah. Now, this one bothered me. I don't know how I would feel about this situation, but I've been in a kind of similar situation-ish.
Okay.
Says, I saw my high school history teacher standing in front of the refrigerator in his underwear eating a chicken wing.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
But
yeah.
it says in parentheses, I'm dating his son. So I stay at their house all the time. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was the history teacher in his underwear in front of the fridge. It's in his home.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's on her.
Yeah.
That is his house, and home rules apply.
I would feel so weird if my child was dating one of my students, and they came over, and they were like, but I would be more cognizant and aware. I think,
but it's the middle of the night, though.
Yeah, but I'm not going out in my underwear. I'm gonna put on a robe or something, and
maybe. But in the middle of the night, you think no one's
awake. Yeah,
yeah. I'm just gonna go right to the fridge like I always do.
I'm hyper cognizant. I would not want to risk it. But I dated the principal's niece one time. Yeah.
Oh, that's awkward.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because, and I'm gonna tell this story, and I'm gonna regret telling this
Here we
story.
Go.
But I'm gonna.
Everybody, click in.
Yeah. The principal and his wife are just the most upstanding citizens.
I can see it.
And they took us to Halloween Horror Nights, and we went to Halloween Horror Nights. And me and the niece are in the back seat, and she falls asleep, and I'm trying to fall asleep, but I'm uncomfortable. And we're driving back home, and all of a sudden they start talking.
Okay.
And they start talking about some of the things that they want to enjoy with each other when they get home.
Stop.
And I'm in the back like, go to sleep. Go to sleep, please. Please go to sleep quick. I'm trying so hard to fall asleep. I'm like, just go to sleep.
So the real Halloween horror stuff.
I was like, is this another house? I'm trying so hard. I'm blacking out like and I was like, well, they're married and they're entitled to do things.
They are.
I was losing my mind in the back seat, but
that is funny.
The principal and
was
his
it
wife,
quite descriptive too? Like
very,
uncomfortable?
Very, very, very uncomfortable. I was very mortified, dude. I was losing it. So, point of the story is don't date the principal's niece if you're listening out on TikTok. Advice of the day. This is an interesting one. I was in Tokyo Airport. This is a student, keep in mind, miles from home, checking out the skin magazines, the adult magazines.
In the airport?
Yeah. And my old high school English teacher suddenly said hello in the Tokyo Airport.
How? What
randomly,
are the chances? But wait a minute.
I don't know. I don't want to go into depth on that one. I don't want to think about it too much.
Okay, got it.
But other countries are more loose when it comes to that stuff.
They don't see it as like we do. Got it.
Yeah. Right. So it's
because I've been in a lot of Hudson News.
That's never the news. There's this one. This one I've worried about.
Okay.
I've worried about this one as a teacher. I'd love to know if you guys have similar situations. I love going into Spencer's, and I love seeing the night. I'm a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan.
Yes.
I love seeing the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. I love seeing the band T-shirts. Occasionally, I'll get like a Metallica or Bush or Korn shirt.
Yeah.
I love my childhood roots, and I go back to them every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be careful because there are teenagers or younger in Spencer's, and there's a line. Mm-hmm. There's a line in the store that if you cross it, you might be in an area where they might come up to you and go, Mr. Siebold, oh, what are you doing here? And you've got a hat with boobies on it going, blah, 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 blah.
And now you're on a list.
Yeah. So Spencer's is, they said 10 years ago, I ran into my math teacher in Spencer's. It was awkward because there was something sexually suggestive that they had in their hand. And Yeah, you gotta worry about Spencer's.
Really quick about Spencer's. There should be a curtain, something in there. Like,
dude, I was like 12 going into the back. All right, next one. I'm a teacher, but halfway through a tattoo session and some discussion, I found out the artist was a former student.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to draw this on the desk, but you know what? Now I'm doing it. And it's, well, no.
Please, I hope your spelling's gotten better.
No regrets.
Regret. What's a regret?
Oh, man. So this one is interesting. My mother told me a story of how when she was in high school in England in the 1970s, she saw her teacher in a pub toilet, drunk, slumped against the wall. My mother was around 15 at the time and said shouldn't have been drinking on a Saturday night. The teacher recognized her and said, "I won't see anything if you don't." Because apparently the kid was in the pub too.
Yes.
And that's kind of a mutual understanding, like, we're both going to walk away from this.
Yeah.
This was a few months ago with my friend, and I was telling them how much I hated this teacher, so much that I was comparing him to Satan. I turn around, and he's sitting directly at the table behind us, staring at us. Yeah.
See you on Monday.
Yeah, I know. This one's pretty good. This one, I just visited Salt Lake City, so shout out to you if it's you. But there was a buddy that I ran into. My buddy ran into our very Mormon, very married high school principal at a strip club. Yeah, and apparently the principal pretended not to see them and left right away. Yeah, it's interesting too, because the age, you obviously think, well, they're not allowed. They're not allowed. But sometimes these students stay in high school a little bit later.
They do.
And sometimes you go to like countries like Canada, I think the drinking age is 19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've taught 19-year-olds. So to go out to a bar and see your students having a beer as they're still your student has got to be a wild thing, I would think.
Or you're just so used to everybody being able to drink, you don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Because in Germany, I think the age is 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Not a student, but the parent of one. My daughter was clothes shopping at the mall, and she didn't notice at first, but the woman fitting her for a bra at Victoria's Secret was her science teacher. If it's, woman to woman,
yeah.
and, it's like, okay, I mean, it's her job outside, and somebody was going to do it. Now it's somebody, at least you trust them, and you're like, okay.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, I would think, but maybe not. I don't know. But I ran into my drama teacher at a gay bar. I was underage. He was very much not out of the closet, and he again said, "I didn't see you here if you didn't see me here." Okay.
As a comedian, there's a joke there.
I mean,
as everyone in the room's like, yeah.
This is good. I smoke a lot in my tree house at my parents' house. One summer after college, I looked out the door as I was taking a big rip, and I made eye contact with my old high school English teacher walking her dog. Gave her a casual head nod and slowly closed the door.
Oh, it had the door open. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Now, here's the thing, too, is Canadian teachers were very happy. It's recreational there, by the way.
Really?
Like everywhere. But I'm not talking like just recreational. I'm talking it exists everywhere. I made fun of them. I was like, if you guys could have just a few more dispensaries, like they're every 5 feet. I even joked. I said, there's got to be one like right next to the art room, guys. Like
funny. Yeah.
There has to be like, edibles and pottery, like it's a weird thing, but I noticed it was very prevalent in Canada. Uh-huh. So that would be another weird thing is like, it's legal there.
Like,
I don't know coming to school, from school, the students' mentalities on it.
I wonder if it's in the rules of being a teacher. You can't smoke. I wonder if you're allowed to smoke as a teacher.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe. So, yeah.
A lot of us have glaucoma. Just saying.
This one, I found out where my teacher lived, and apparently it was in my neighborhood, when his dog bit me, and I had to get stitches.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a tough one.
No, it's not. That
Why?
is a great opportunity. Hey, Teach, I didn't get my homework done, but remember that time your dog bit me?
Yeah. Some dogs eat the homework. Yours ate me.
You know what? Go ahead, take this A. There you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. And this last one I'm going to read, I think this one's pretty funny. But I could see this happening, and I've heard other teachers say something similar. Mm-hmm. I worked at a local Target store after high school. My band instructor came in and bought a pack of protection.
Okay.
And came through checkout. He chatted me up for a bit. It was weird. And yeah. And I've often thought about that too, because once upon a time I was, single guy.
Yeah.
Out in the world. Mm-hmm. And yeah. And you often wonder, like, when you go to buy something like that, are you setting a good example? I mean, that's,
yes,
do you acknowledge it? You go, see?
Yeah.
This is in the real world.
We've always said safety first. That's it.
I'll share this one too. In elementary school, I ran into my band teacher trying to get people to buy into a pyramid scheme at the flea market. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, that is.
Then the very last one that I'll share, because I would be mortified if this happened. My sister was in a fender bender right after getting her licensed. The guy she rear-ended was her driving instructor. I mean, it's your fault, dude. It's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, do you go, oh, you know what? I've got to work on my instructions.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I don't know. I don't know where you go with that, but terrible.
You go back to that same class.
Yeah.
That's where you go.
So we're going to exchange insurance and also class time.
Yeah.
You are going to be in my room on Tuesday.
Yeah.
See you there.
Yeah, see you there.
All right, James, how can people find you, my friend?
As always, you guys can keep following me at James Yan Comedian. That's on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you guys for all the wonderful messages and all the follows.
Awesome. DevinComedy.com for all the upcoming tour dates. If you'd like me to come speak in your school, just message me on any of the social medias. August is filling up. I can't stress that enough. It's a really big back to school thing, and I speak at a lot of schools, and I'd love to come out to your school and speak as well. So message me on there. Don't forget to check out the Board Teacher Comedy Tour as well. San Diego, 16th of May. Los Angeles, May 17th. San Jose, 18th. Santa Rosa, 19th. Billings, Montana, Bozeman, Montana on the 25th and 26th, and then Billings on the 25th of July. Hopefully we'll see you out at some of those shows. I know that the tickets are going fast. Most of these shows are either sold out or close, so be sure to grab those tickets, and we'll see you out there with some new jokes, some new material, plenty of laughs to go around. Thank you so much for tuning in. Rate us 5-star. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that. But us. Suggested things, that's us. Crying in My Car. Devin, Siebold, James Yan, Board Teachers, watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.